Fani, this morning, a judge finally ruled. Now, I can't even lie. I'm not surprised, but I wasn't expecting it. I'm not surprised, but I wasn't expecting this. Before I give into my thoughts, let me bring y'all up to speed, and I'm going to reference two different clips from two different sides of the coin so that you guys can get it, the entirety of what's going on with this Fani Willis situation.
You guys, good morning, everybody. The news is in, according to a report in Atlanta, Georgia. The AJC, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, now giving word what the judge has decided. Apparently, Fani Willis can decide for her own if she wants to stay or leave the case and take Nathan Wade with her. So
hold on. What do you think she gonna do? So listen, she can determine if she wants to stay on the case or if she wants to let Nathan Wade, who has zero experience in this type of field, to take on this whole situation. What do you think that she gonna do? Before I even get into this, what do you think that Fani Willis is gonna do? Bad attitude Fani, how you think she gonna play it?
we're waiting for more information on this. Welcome to Friday. Dana's got the day off today. I'm Bill Hemmer, live here in New York City with my friend and colleague in tow. Here we go. It's going to be a ride.
It certainly is. We're getting some very big news this morning. So good morning, everybody. I'm Martha McCallum, and this, of course, is America's Newsroom. We understand, as you just pointed out, Bill, that this decision is in. Judge McAfee said he would give himself a 2-week deadline.
Right.
That landed on today. So we have all come to know this judge a little bit over the course of the last couple of months.
Corruption all the way across the board. Corruption.
His name is Scott McAfee. He did decide today, and he gave himself that 2-week deadline, as I mentioned. And the decision that he has had to make is whether to disqualify the Fulton County DA, Fani Willis, in response to allegations that she was dating her lead prosecutor when she hired him. And the accusation is that that was part of a motivation for hiring him, and that then the two took some rather fancy vacations together, and that they may have benefited financially from this business arrangement, which it was alleged she created for that purpose.
So, Don,
let's be objective here, because I know that Eric is in the chat, and so Eric is being very, very disgraceful to the justice system, right? Very disingenuous and disgraceful to the justice system, because this isn't even a case of whether or not Trump is guilty or not. Like, we haven't even gotten to that point. This has nothing to do with whether or not he's guilty or not. This has everything to do with the people that is doing this in the first place. This has nothing to do with whether he's guilty or not, because we haven't even gotten to the case itself. This has everything to do with the fact that we know for a fact, based off of all of the evidence that's being submitted and the people that's on testimony and trial, when the relationship started, who was busting who down, who was spending the night over wherever they was, they geolocation, they text messages. Bro, if this is not a slam dunk to understand who's actually benefiting from this, I don't know what is. If this is not the worst situation that I've ever experienced in my entire life, and that we clearly see that there's financial gain that comes along with the idea of being in a relationship that you should have not been in the first place. When this first came out and they said, hey man, his divorce proceedings is sealed, I knew it was wicked. I knew it was wicked. I knew it was corrupt. How do you get your divorce proceedings sealed? I've never heard of that in my entire life. It's so dirty. Oh man, I know. And then they start lying on the stand. Okay, so here's my question. If they could just lie and say whatever they want to say and do what they want to do and use taxpayer dollars in order to do it, even though we got the geolocation, I mean, for God's sakes, we even discovered that Nathan Wade, the Atlanta mayor, actually went over to the White House before they ever filed these charges, and then went up in there and was allegedly meeting with Kamala Harris. And everybody just swept that under the rug. You didn't see CNN reporting on it. You didn't see MSNBC reporting on it. You didn't see ABC reporting on it. Everybody just completely swept that under the rug. We see Ashley Get up on the stand and say, hey, listen, this information is available for everybody. I didn't even have to do anything to go and get it. They sat there inside of the White House for 5 hours for no reason. Nobody asked the question, okay, well, what did they talk about? Why did they go and have to meet at the White House right before they went and filed those charges? And they allegedly, as listed based off of the Freedom of Information Act, why would they do that? And see, this is how I know Eric Daniels is not objective. Because let me tell you something. When they brought the justice, what's his name? Clarence Thomas, up, and they said, hey, Clarence Thomas has been over there fraternizing with billionaires and they've been paying for us. I called it out. I called it out. I said, man, listen, if he out here doing the wrong thing, then it's a bad look and he need to be held accountable for it. I don't want no corrupt politician or anybody that's been in an elected position that's using taxpayer dollars to be in a position of power. Nobody should be in a position of power on behalf of taxpayers getting paid to do stuff when they not above board. What the heck are we talking about? We seen the Atlanta mayor show up to the trial and then give so much support despite the fact that we already had seen all of the evidence to show that she was for the streets. That she had egregiously overpaid a man that was billing for 24 hours at a time. And then he had to come back and revise the statement and say, listen, it wasn't that was the actual hours that I had worked that day, but it was really because, it was a 24-hour bill based off of work that I previously did that I just submitted it once it got to that amount. And listen, this man made over $700,000. They was over there vacationing, the Caribbean, Belize, California. They had clearly showed that they lied and that the relationship was way more than what they made it out to be. And then she sat on the stand and lied and said, oh no, I paid him back in all cash. I keep stashes of thousands and thousands of dollars in my house just to be able to pay this guy back for all of the stuff that he paid for. So it was people that was way more experienced, that was greater at what it was that you said that you hired him to do. He had no experience to do it, but he literally made 7 and 8 times the amount of money to do it, all because he was having sex with you and he was busting you down. And we sitting here saying that, oh, no, listen. She can pick and choose whether or not she still want to do it. Where'd they do that at?
Donald Trump's team and his co-defendants say this is all a disqualifying conflict of interest. The case should be thrown out because of it. All these allegations prompting heated testimony. We watched it live. You're going to hear now from one of the first witnesses on behalf of Trump's attorneys. She's now a former friend and former colleague of Fani Willis. She was emphatic. She said she remembered the timeline and she remembered the action when she asked her questions about Nathan Wade.
And do you understand it that their relationship began in 2019 and continued until the last time you spoke with her? Yes.
As it relates.
That's her homegirl. Her homegirl with the bad wig was on the Zoom like, yeah, he was busting it down back in 2019. He was busting it down in 2019. I look at that man right now. I look at that guy right there and I said, man, look at this dude. Look, this guy was busting it. He took one for the team so he can get to the bag. He took one for the team so he can get to the bag. He sat up there and he lied on the stand. He lied on the stand.
To having the 2022 relationship with District Attorney Willis, I want to say, because my marriage was irretrievably broken, I was free to have a relationship.
You've been intrusive into people's personal lives. You're confused. You think I'm on trial. These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020. I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial. I don't need anything from a man. A man is not a plan. A man is a companion.
Well, that is just a slice of what we got from the DA, Fani Willis, in Georgia through the course of all of this. We've got analysis from former federal prosecutor Andrew Cherkasky. But first, let's go to Jonathan Seri, who's been covering this case all along in Atlanta. Big morning, Jonathan.
Yeah, very big morning. The story is unfolding as we speak. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution is reporting that Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis has been ordered to either step aside or she has to cut ties with her special prosecutor in the case, Nathan.
You're talking about from the judge that actually donated to the campaign? This stinks to the high heavens. This stinks all the way across the board. We are disgusting. We are absolutely disgusting, bro.
Wade before the case can go to trial. Attorneys for former President Trump and several of his associates had asked the judge to disqualify the DA from prosecuting the case. They argue Willis's romantic relationship with prosecutor Wade creates a conflict of interest. Willis and Wade have testified under oath the relationship began after Willis hired him, but Willis also faces challenges outside the courtroom. Take a listen.
The biggest risks that Fani Willis has are political in nature. She has an election coming up, which is now contested, both in the primary and in the general election.
Oh, she got an election coming up. Ain't that weird? Hey, guys, listen. She got an election coming up. Listen, the way that this is going and how this is playing out, I wouldn't be surprised if she got reelected. I would not be surprised if she got reelected back into the position. I have no confidence in anybody in Georgia at this point. Zero confidence in the system or the people in Georgia at this point. You guys are disrespectful, evil. If the people don't get her up out of there, if y'all let this woman, after everything that we just seen happen, play out, sit up there and still be on the stand and be able to determine what's happening and getting paid by your tax dollars, I have nothing to say to y'all. Georgia, y'all got work to do. Get on it. Let me look at this from a completely different news source, NBC News.
Danny, let's just break this down again. The judge giving Fani Willis a decision, basically saying your entire team can leave this case or you can push Nathan Wade off of the case. Of course, her former partner and at the center of these allegations. Talk about the implications of the judge's ruling here, Danny.
And McAfee is given.
I don't want to hear nobody else say that the system is against black people. I don't want to hear anybody else say that the system is against. Oh, no, it's systematically against you. And women are the least protected group out here in these streets. Man, let me tell you something. We just seen this junk roll all the way up to the White House. Collusion, AKAs working together, payola, using taxpayer dollars, busting it down for a real one, divorces, cheating, adultery. You got a whole novel. We got a whole 8-part Netflix series right here, right now. You know who all lost? All of the white people. Every white person that was getting prosecuted, that lawyers, all of the black people won this. They got paid, they got money, they met up at the White House, they got power, they worked together, they squeezed the judge, and they all gonna get reelected. The mayor, black. Nathan Wade, black. Fani Willis, black woman. Kamala Harris, black woman. Everybody got paid, everybody got money, everybody got to the bag, and everybody could continue to do what they want. I don't want to hear nothing about white people versus black people no more. Throw it away. Throw it away. I don't want to hear nothing else about systematic injustice or the fact that black people can't be racist because they have no power. Hey, black people, they can't be racist because they have no power to determine what's happening to somebody else. Bull crap. Bull crap. You can miss me with that statement from now on.
DA's office a Hobson's choice, which is to say there is no choice at all. Either the entire office is disqualified or one special prosecutor, Nathan Wade, must leave. The choice is clear. The DA's office will stay on the case. Nathan Wade is all but gone from the case. So the top line summary could be defense motion granted, but barely. The only net effect is that they've removed Nathan Wade, but procedurally they have caused considerable delay. And while the judge has allowed the DA's office to stay on the case, it was hardly a glowing endorsement of the DA's conduct. Among other things, the judge said the DA was willing to conceal her relationship with Wade and called the entire prosecution as having an odor of mendacity. So hardly an endorsement of the DA's conduct here, but the DA's office stays on. Interesting to note that had the judge found an actual conflict, disqualification would have been mandated, but he also concluded that where there was only an appearance of impropriety, which he found in this case, disqualification was not mandated. So the net effect will be the DA's office stays on the case.
So the only thing that happens here is everybody got money, everybody got rich, everybody did their thing, and the only person that loses, that didn't even lose because he the one that made all of the money, is Nathan Wade. Which he wasn't probably even going to be on it anymore anyway because he no longer busting them down for a real one. The only person that gets removed, listen, after all of the testimony and the research and the geolocation and uncovering all of the behind the scenes dirtiness, and Terrence Bradley was over there trying to bust it down for a real one, and he wound up, man, listen, they even practically admitted to tax fraud. Nathan Wade was on there and said, hey, man, I'll use my business account for everything, even the stuff that's just personal. And then I'm going to talk to my CPA and he going to be able to sort it out for me. They basically even admit, they are running a racket over there in D.C. and Georgia. They're running a racket in D.C. and Georgia. And Nathan Wade didn't even lose because he the one that got the bag. He got paid. He the one that cleaned the whole thing up. He got paid. He got a bag. He took trips. He busted down for a real one. And he probably got to meet the Vice President of the United States of America, God willing. And he ran it up. He ran up a bag, bro.
Well, Danny, let's talk a little bit about what we witnessed during this trial and the fact that DA Fani Willis took the stand, essentially bucking the advice of her own counsel, surprising just about everyone. She defended herself. She said there was no financial impropriety. There was no conflict of interest in this case. The judge effectively ruling the defendants did not present sufficient evidence proving their allegations of a conflict of interest. What do you make of her decision to take the stand, that dramatic moment? Did it ultimately help her?
Politically, it likely helped her. But I've said that technically speaking, from a rules of evidence standpoint, it was not what you would call good testimony, especially by the highest ranking DA in the county. She often didn't answer the question asked, to the point where Judge McAfee warned her at one point, this is the elected DA, that he might have to strike her testimony if she didn't answer questions. But
look at Eric Daniels. But Anton thinks the case should be dismissed, which is wrong. I preface this whole live stream and this segment of the show by saying that this has nothing to do with the case itself. But see, you're unable to be objective because this is what you do. I didn't even mention anything about the case itself being dismissed at all, but they want to put words in my mouth because they want to be biased and they want to conflate and move the goalposts. But the reality is this: they're dirty. They're dirty. They should not be allowed to be able to stay on the case based off of all of the different testimony and evidence that was presented against them. I don't really understand why y'all can't see that. How come y'all can't put that together? How come y'all really just can't figure that out? Why is that so difficult for y'all to understand? They're dirty. It's been proven that they dirty.